The Cuban government is talking with us. They're in a big deal of trouble, as you know. They have no money. They have no anything right now. But they're talking with us. And maybe we'll have a friendly takeover of Cuba. We could very well end up having a friendly takeover of Cuba.
What about the post?
After many, many years, we've had a lot of years of dealing with Cuba. I've been hearing about Cuba since I'm a little boy, but they're in big trouble, and we could very well, something good, I think very positive for the people that were expelled or worse from Cuba.
All right, shalom, shalom. I'm going to write y'all coming at you with another lesson straight out of Lions Den Camp of Yashala. But before I get started with this lesson, I would like to give all praises to the Heavenly Father in the name of his only begotten Son in their proper true names. And we're going to start off by saying Kal, Halayim, La, Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Ha, Rekah, Kodash, Ma'amath. Definitely want to give double honors to the elder apostles of GMS and their elders. Definitely want to give double honors to my elder apostle, Aharwan. Ban Yashala, the Lions Den Camp, located right here in Jacksonville, Florida. Shalom to the sincere men, women, and children that believe in sincerity and truth. Shalom to the Lions Den Camp and to the rest of the elect that's out there. Shalom, shalom. All right. As you just heard, man, all right, Trump said, you know, they have plans and talks about having a friendly takeover of Cuba. All right. And if anybody really has done their research throughout the years or paid attention, we already know Cuba's not going down. They're not going to go out like that, man. You know, they're not just going to give up their country, all right, and hand it over to to the U.S., man. You know. But again, Cuba's what he's talking about is, you know, Cuba's in trouble basically because of what DJ Nero did in Venezuela, taking over the oil, basically, right? And that really, Cuba wasn't the only ones that took a hit from because of that, right? China also is feeling a little bit of that because they get their oil from Venezuela as well as Iran. All right, they also get their oil from Venezuela. All right, so you know, a lot of people want to say it's about the oil, and it is, but it's not because of money of dealing with the oil itself. All right, you know, if you've been paying attention, gas prices in America has been going down, right? But that was really more of a military tactic. All right, you know, to basically wound, all right, other countries like Cuba, like Iran, right, and like China, you know, and as we see, Trump has Trump, and, well, let me say it like this: the U.S. and the state of Israel has attacked Iran, right? That happened on Saturday, right? So it was a more strategic move. They really already had planned on going after Iran, right? But they had to kind of wound them a little bit, and they did that when they, you know, targeted Venezuela, right? So let's grab some precepts, man, real quick. All right, move that out the way. Let's go to the blue letter, man. All right, because these people are wicked, man. The U.S., the state of Israel, right? All these countries that, you know, came up in power under the Roman Empire, man. You know, stemming all the way down to these elite bankers today, dealing with the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers. These are all the wicked that's ruling the world, man. Job 9:24, the world was given into the hands of the wicked, you know. And if you know the prophecies, you know that Rome, right, you know, once it fell, it came back up into power, right? And that's pretty much what you see today, right? Rome, the Roman Empire is, you know, basically you have taken over the world, and, you know, and it's what you will see that in NATO, EU, right, as well as America, right? The dragon giving power to the beast, man, you know, dealing with EU, NATO, and America, right, and them going around to conquer the world, right, pushing their demonocracy, right? And they did it through the dollar, the religion, and using their military might. All right, so let's go to um, right. This no matter of fact, let's not start off there. Let's start off in Psalms 58, man. Right, because these are some wicked people, man. You know. All right, so it says this is Psalms 58 and 2, and it says, "Yea, in heart ye work wickedness, ye weigh the violence of your hands in the earth." Right. It says, "The wicked are estranged from the womb; they go astray as soon as they be born, speaking lies, man." You know, this is a wicked system that we're under, man. And we have to understand that it really stems from Yahweh Bahashim Yahushua pushing his prophecies forth, man. Giving the wicked power, right, to complete his prophecies, right, so that way he can show up and show out on the wicked, meaning take and bring them down, right, just like he did all the other nations like Egypt, right, when he hardened the heart of Pharaoh, right, those wicked ones, the Lord wanted to show up and show out, raise them up, to a certain point, just so he can bring them down in front of everyone, right, to show that he's in charge, he's the most powerful, right. It says, their poison is like the poison of a serpent. They are like the deaf adder that stoppeth her ear, which will not hearken to the voice of the charmers, charming never so wisely, right. Here's the point, though. Break their teeth, O Yahweh Bahashim Yahushua, right? He's our power, right? It says, in their mouth, break out the great teeth of the young lions, O Yahweh. Let them melt away as waters, which run continually. When he bendeth his bow to shoot his arrows, let them be as cut in pieces, man. As a snail which melteth, let every one of them pass away, like the untimely birth of a woman, that they may not see the sun. Right? Before your pots can feel the thorns, he shall take them away as with a whirlwind, both living and in his wrath, man. All right, so we have to understand Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushua has a judgment for the wicked, man. And it's going to come during World War III, right? And he's going to use the nukes, right? He's going to bring forth those nukes, the weapons of his indignation, to bring forth that prophecy, man, right? Which is going to melt the soft tissues in your body, the tongues, your eyeballs first, all right, as we were just reading, right? And this is also our prayer, we're ready for Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushua to show up to take down this kingdom, man, right? To set up the righteous kingdom, right? To go ahead and fulfill his prophecy, man, of 200 million warheads hidden in this place, right? Meaning Babylon, U.S., America. That's the prophecy. And Lord willing, I'm part of that number, that part of the elect, to be able to see it with my eyes only, man, as I'm being delivered, right? But it says, verse 7, I'm sorry, let them melt away as waters which run continually, right? When he bendeth his bow to shoot his arrows, man. All right, so now let's go to Habakkuk. All right, come on, phone, ride with me. All right, Habakkuk 2. All right, right. Habakkuk 2 and 2. And Yahweh answered me and said, write the vision and make it plain upon tables, that he may run that readeth it, right? So just like the scriptures are for us today, right, we continue to do our videos on YouTube and whatever other social media platform to continue to write these visions, right, and to break down these visions to the people, to warn the people of the upcoming prophecies, man, of World War III, how the U.S. and the state of Israel that we've been talking about for years, right, was going to go against Iran, the Persians, and then then Russia was going to get involved, China, the BRICS nation as a whole, right, and that's going to be the start of World War III, right, Ezekiel 38, right. Well, Russia end up, when that thought hits the king of Russia, right, which is Putin at this moment, right, to where they'll want to come and come attack the unwalled villages, which is Babylon, the U.S., all right, that's surrounded by many waters. And, that North country coming to destroy this place, man. We have to remember the BRICS nation, right? Well, let me say it like this. Iran, right, is backed by the BRICS nation, right, which is Russia, China, so on, so on, Brazil, so on, so on. All right. But this is that, we have to remember the vision is for an appointed time. All right. It says, but at the end it shall speak, right? So a lot of people think that the prophecies are taking too long, that they'll never happen, or that they might not be alive when the prophecies happen. We have to understand, man, these are set for an appointed time, right? And you ought not to, start to lose the faith or the belief in the prophecies because you don't understand, or you lack, you lack the faith. That's going to lead you to receive the same reward as the wicked, man. All right, matter of fact, let's go to second address in chapter 9. All right, it reads, he answered me then and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself, right? So we have to measure the current events, measure the time that we're in, right? To see what prophecy is before us, man, right? And we only have a few left, man, But again, it's set for an appointed time. But you have to be paying attention to what's going on to be able to keep up with the prophecies and understand when it's happening, or, is it happening while you're not paying attention? Are you missing out on prophecies happening because you lack the understanding, right? Or you just don't believe, right? And if you don't believe, we don't sweat that, man. You're just going to get caught up in the destruction. If you're a Negro, Latino, or Native American, right, which are the true Israelites of the scriptures and the speckled bird who bear the same spirit as such, right? But, when you lack that understanding, you're going to fall victim, to the wiles of the devil, man. I'm sorry, you're going to fall victim to the wrath of Yahweh Bahashim Yahushua, all right, by following, the heathens, man, the wicked. All right, but it says, he answered me then and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself. And when thou seest, right, that means you got to be paying attention, part of the signs past, which I have told thee before, then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made, man. Right, and it's been all kind of videos of the chariots being spotted, meaning the angels in their chariots being spotted by the military for a while now, really. So we see that, at the end, that it's time, man. We see Ezekiel 38 in the midst, especially after this attack that Israel and the U.S. did against Iran, right? This is going to bring Russia into the war, right? Part of the prophecy was that the least of them shall draw them in, meaning the state of Israel was going to draw in America into this war, the least of them, right? Speaking of, the ones that's part of the beast, being the least of them shall draw who in? Babylon, man, America. And that prophecy has just been fulfilled. All right, what's next? Right? Big Russia stepping in to help out the Persians, Iran, right? As you read Ezekiel 38, and it says, that Russia was going to be a guard unto them. All right. But it says, right, verse 3, therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people, which we have done videos on, right? It says uproars of the people in the world, right? And it's chaotic everywhere, right? The people are uproaring everywhere. All of these different countries and nations, all these different regime changes happening across the world. The people are in an uproar, man. It says, then shalt thou well understand that the Most High spake of these things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning, right? These things is prophecy, man. For like as all that is made in the world hath a beginning, and the end, and the end is manifest. Even so, the times also of the highest have plain beginnings in wonders and powerful works, and endings and effects and signs, man. Right? Some of them signs we've been seeing, dealing with solar eclipses and pink moons and blood moons, right? That we have been seeing. And every time you see the planets just align. I forgot what day that happened, but it wasn't too long ago, man. These are all signs that's, to warn us, man. Basically a new age is coming, right? As the scriptures say, right? Jacob held first the heel of Esau, man. That's showing you the transition of one, once the head, right, Esau becomes the tail, that the transition is almost immediate, meaning Jacob will become the head and they will become the tail, man. You know, that age, right? The time changing, right? The certain kingdoms falling and certain kingdoms rising, right? Meaning the downfall of the kingdom of Esau, man, and the uprising of the kingdom of Jacob, right? Under their king Yahweh Shai, right? Hamashiach. It says, for like as all that is made, so like in verse 7, I'm sorry, and everyone that shall be saved and shall be able to escape by his works, right, man? Breaking down the prophecies, right? Doing videos, right? Feeding the people the truth, right? Making the vision plain, which means breaking down the prophecy, today. It says, and everyone that shall be saved and shall be able to escape by his works and by faith whereby ye have believed. Right? You have to understand that Yahweh Shai is on his way, man. World War III is going to happen. It has to happen. Right? We won't be able to see Yahweh Shai until it does happen. Right? It says, whereby ye have believed shall be preserved from the said perils, man, and shall see my salvation in my land and within my borders, for I have sanctified them for me from the beginning, right? Then shall they be in pitiful case, which now have abused my ways, and they that have cast them away despitefully shall dwell in torments, man, right? So just because, let me keep reading. It says, for such as in their life have received benefits and have not known me, right? So just because you receive benefits, man, and you think you living lavishly out here, doesn't mean that the Lord don't have a punishment or judgment for you. Right? It doesn't mean that you're blessed and highly favored, man, right? It says, and they that have loathed my law, right, which is most of them people that make those statements, right? Loathing the law, don't want to follow the law. The law's been done away with. It says, well, they, that's their mindset, right? Which is false because the laws are still in effect besides the sacrificial laws. It says, and they that have loathed my law while they had yet liberty, and when as yet place of repentance was open unto them, understood it not, but despised it. The same must know it after death by pain, man. Right? So remember, these prophecies must come to pass, and we must be walking with the Lord, in spirit and in truth before he gets here, man. So that way you won't get caught up in them said perils, man, and or get caught up, with that MOTB, that micro CHIP, all right. That way the Lord won't have to destroy you within his wrath, man. All right. So what is our job? This is 2 Esdras 15. It says, behold, speak thou in the ears of my people the words of prophecy, man. This is why we do these videos, man, to warn y'all, man. Pay attention to the current events. Understand the prophecy so that way you can be ready, right? Just like just like the 5 virgins, man. It says, which I will put in thy mouth, saith the Lord. Excuse me, Salaki. It says, and cause them to be written in paper, for they are faithful and true. Right. It says, fear not. Right. It says, fear not the imagination against thee. Right. So it says, let not the incredulity, which is unbelief, of them trouble thee that speak against thee, for all the unfaithful shall die in their unfaithfulness, man. So if you lack understanding of faith in these prophecies, right, that World War III is in the midst, right, that the state of Israel and the United States, right, going against Iran. It's going to bring forth Ezekiel 38, where if Russia's going to jump in, right, and then that's going to lead to Russia and the BRICS nation coming against the whore, man, and surrounding this place, man, right, and utterly shooting their nukes and missiles upon this place, man. You know, you can lack that understanding, that belief all you want, right? That's on you. We doing our job in warning you, you know, because as the scriptures say, verse 4, for all the unfaithful, right? If you don't want to believe, you don't have faith in Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua prophecies, or, you know, have faith in him, you know, coming to deliver us, or if you even lack the understanding of faith of World War III happening, right, as it says in Revelation, right, the third woe coming quickly, right? The second war has passed with World War II, right? And the third war, World War III, the third woe cometh quickly, man. All right. It says, verse 5, behold, saith the Lord, I will bring plagues upon the world, the sword, famine, death, and destruction, for wickedness hath exceedingly polluted the whole earth. Right? Job 9:24, it says, and their hurtful works are fulfilled. Therefore saith the Lord, Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua, I will hold my tongue no more as touching their wickedness, man. Right? So we see the signs being played out in front of us, man. You know, blood moons, as I was just speaking on, the planets aligning, so on and so on, man. You know, the solar eclipses that was happening that put an X on America within the last few years, man. You know, we see all these signs, right? As we were just reading in 2nd Esdras chapter 9, right? It says, therefore saith the Lord, I will hold my tongue no more as touching their wickedness which they profanely commit. Neither will I suffer them in those things in which they wickedly exercise themselves. Behold, the innocent and righteous blood crieth unto me, and the souls of the just complain continually. Right? And so this is us complaining. You know, the righteous are constantly complaining to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua. How long, oh Yahweh, before you come, you know, destroy them, come break their teeth. I was just reading in Psalms 58, right? Let's go up to 1. Right, Psalms 58:1, it says, do ye indeed speak righteousness, O congregation? Do ye judge uprightly, O ye sons of men? Yea, in heart ye work wickedness. All right, yea, ye weigh the violence of your hands in the earth. The wicked are estranged from the womb. They go astray as soon as they be born, speaking lies. Man. All right, let's jump down to verse 6. Break their teeth, O Yahweh, Ba'Shem Yahushua, in their mouth. Break out their great teeth of the young lions, O Lord, Yahweh. It says, let them melt away as waters which runneth continually. When he bendeth his bow to shoot his arrows, let them be as cut in pieces, man. Right. So this is for 2/3 of our people, as well as the wicked, man, the wicked heathens, man. You know, because 2/3 of our people want to be just like them, right? So they're going to receive the same reward as them, man. You know, but that's the wicked, man. That's you know, on the earth today. They have to receive their judgment, man. You know, but we're crying out to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua, man, that the wicked, even 2/3 of our own people, right, as well as the heathen, right, you know, break their teeth, you know. It says, verse 7, let them melt away as waters which run continually when he bendeth his bow, right, to shoot his arrows. Let them be as cut in pieces, man. Right. So we're calling out, you know, to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua, man, you know, to speed up the days, to bring forth his prophecy, man, to start World War III, so we can be delivered, man, you know, to burn this place with fervent heat, you know, because this place is wicked, man, you know. So now, hold up, I don't think I was finished in 2nd Esdras. Let's go back. All right, so let's go back to the blue letter, and we're gonna go to Habakkuk 2, man, because, you know, we're gonna get back on Trump real quick. You know, because again, you know, paying attention to the kings of the earth and how they move and what their military is doing is very important, man. Right. So speaking of Trump and the military tactics he did, and, you know, that the military tactics that he's using by taking Venezuela, right, is is wounding, right. I'm not gonna say it's a large wound, a big wound, right. It might be for Cuba, but not so much as China, right. And it might be a decent wound for Iran, right, Iran. Wounded them by taking the oil from Venezuela, right? Because again, China, Iran, and Cuba all get their oil from them, right? But now who has control over it, right? It says Habakkuk 2 and and 2, and Yahweh answered me and said, write the vision, there you go again, and make it plain upon tables, that he may run that readeth it, man. So yeah, of course, we're giving you the breakdowns, we're doing the videos and giving you the prophecies, man, that was here, that was given to us and laid out before us, man. It says, verse 3, for the vision is yet for an appointed time, see, but at the end it shall speak and not lie, though it tarry, wait for it, man. For all you ones that feel like it's taking too long, wait for it. Continue to believe and continue to be patient. Continue to grow in your understanding and in your faith, and be prepared in that day for deliverance. Not falling behind the heathen and losing your faith and your belief. Right? It says, though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not tarry. All right. Now let's get on Trump. It says, behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him, but the just shall live by his faith, man. Right? His soul is not upright in him. Right? This and you could tell, right? Verse 5 says, yea, also because he transgresseth by wine, he is a proud man, neither keepeth at home, who enlarges his desire as hell, and is as death, and cannot be satisfied. Right, man? This is why, the things that he's been doing is getting people unalive, man. Look at what happened in Venezuela. All those people, was unalive. Right? Look at what's going on right now in Iran, man. All the ones that's being unalive, as well as his own military, right? Being shot down, certain jets getting shot down, certain places getting hit, all for what? All because he's enlarging his desires, man. He wants to take over Cuba, right? That was the whole point in the video that we was watching in the beginning, a friendly takeover, right? Enlarging his desires as hell, man, and is as death, right? This is why I say it's not going to be that easy, right? Cuba's not going to just, give up their country like that, man. Friendly takeover, seriously? It says, and cannot be satisfied, right? He has his eyes set on Greenland, Iran, Cuba, Venezuela. I mean, this man has his, he has his fingers in on a lot of things, hands on a lot of things. It says, but gather unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people. Shall not all these take up a parable against him, right? The BRICS is getting pissed off, man. All these other nations, man, are hot right now, man. Right? And then we were speaking on what was going on with NATO and Greenland, right? Pissing other countries off. It says, shall not all these take up a parable against him? It says, and a taunting proverb against him, and say, woe to him that increaseth that which is not his. How long? And to him that ladeth himself with thick clay. Right? That thick clay is going into debt. Right? But how long, man? How long is he going to continue to go around, Mr. He believes he's the king of peace right now, feeling like that's what his 4 years is going to be about peace, man. But in actuality, you have done a lot of unaliving through your military. You have done a lot of robbing, stealing, and unaliving, enlarging your desires as hell, going around, taking things, man, Verse 7. Oh, excuse me. It says, shall they not rise up suddenly that shall bite thee, right? And awake that shall vex thee, and thou shalt be for booties unto them, man. You know, once Russia gets involved, you know, and they start to come against America after they take down, you know, what's going on in the Middle East. After they finish that up, they're gonna come over here, man. You know, we are. This is it, man. World War III, baby. You know, we just gotta let it continue to play out. You know, and then all hell is finna break loose. You know, as it's been talks of them putting boots on the ground in Iran. Speaking of the U.S., right? You don't think boots gonna hit the ground over here? You know, meaning like you don't think there's gonna be some type of attack right before the missiles get shot off, man? You don't think we have sleeper cells here in America? You know, you you know we just had a Jake man, you know, shoot up some stuff, man. This I believe that was Sunday, Monday is one of them days. You know, he unalived some people. You know, because you know he's a Muslim and he was doing that for Iran, man. You know, allegedly. So you don't think things like that are going to continue to happen here? You know, we have to understand, man. At the end of the day, we are in it. It's going to be all kind of stuff. Is so it's best to be paying attention. You know what's going on. You have a lot of people that live in America that love that place, man. That love Cuba. You know, things are gonna start to happen, man. In this country, right? It's gonna get real ugly. But let's continue. All right, it says, because thou hast spoiled many nations, all the remnant of the people shall spoil thee because of men's blood, Salakia, of men's blood, and for the violence of the land, of the city, and of all that dwell therein. Right? So we have to understand, man. Yahweh Bashim Yahushua has a major prophecy coming, man. World War III, you know, nuclear destruction. It's coming to this place, man, and it's because of the things that the beast has pushed around, you know, to all these nations, man, you know, and that whore that rides upon the scarlet colored beast, you know, continually, you know, continually putting hurt on other nations, man, you know, taking their resources and, you know, unaliving people and lying on those countries, you know. But anyways, let's go to let's go to Jeremiah. Come on, all right, there you go. Let's go down to verse let's go to verse 9. For lo, I will rise and cause to come up against Babylon an assembly of great nations from the north country, and they shall set themselves in array against her. From thence shall she be taken. Their arrows, there go them arrows again, those missiles, shall be as of a mighty expert man. None shall return in vain, man. Right? And it's going to be because of all the wickedness that this place has pushed onto these other nations and the things that they have done to these other nations, man. Right? That's what people really are going to think. But ultimately, it's because of what they have done to the true children of Israel, right? The Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. That is the reason why Yahweh Bashim Yahushua is coming to destroy this place, all right? But he used Babylon to go out and to pass that golden cup around to all these other nations, to have them drunken on their philosophies and their religion and their belief, drunken with their money, you know, drunken with their inventions, you know. It says, right, and the Chaldean shall be a spoil. All that spoil her shall be satisfied, right? Right? Let's read it in the NIV. It says, so Babylon will be plundered. All who plunder her will have their fill. Right? So this place is going down, man. The Lord is going to allow these other countries to destroy this place, man. And in that same moment, He's going to, deliver us. At the same time, this place is being destroyed through those ICBMs, man. It says, because ye were glad, because ye rejoiced, O ye destroyers of my heritage. See, it's about us, because ye are grown fat as heifers at grass, and eating good, plundering other nations, and taking their resources and destroying their country, man. You know, for all that things you have done, you have to pay for that. It says, and bellow as bulls. You out there boasting about it. And so like, I don't know what that was making that noise, but it says, your mother shall be sore confounded. She that bare you shall be ashamed. Behold, the hindermost of the nation shall be a wilderness, a dry land, and a desert. Because of the wrath, of Yahweh, it shall not be inhabited, but it shall be wholly desolate. Everyone that goeth by Babylon shall be astonished and hiss at all her plagues. This is how you know the world is not going to. That's another clue, right? It's not talking about the whole world is going to be destroyed. Just certain nations like this place of Babylon, which will be that lake of fire. And when these other nations pass by her, they're going to hiss at her. They're going to be astonished, like, damn, that was the place, that was so mighty, just like just like how Egypt was and the original Babylon, right? They're going to look at the daughter of Babylon the same way. It's verse 14 said, put yourselves in array against Babylon around about, all ye that bend the bow. Shoot at her, spare no arrows. That's those ICBMs again, for she have sinned against the Lord Yahweh. All right. Now let's go to like make your own thing. All right. Now let's go to Isaiah. All right. Matter of fact, let me jump over here. The second address 16. All right. And this is starting off at 1, man, because you have to know the prophecies, man. You have to, we are giving out that warning that the Lord has a judgment for all these nations, man, as well as His own people, right? 2/3 of them, right, are going to fall victim to the same reward that the wicked has coming from the Lord, man. Lord willing, I'm part of the 144,000, right, being delivered with the 1/3, man, of Israel. Right, the second address 16:1, it says, woe, right, woe be unto thee, Babylon and Asia. Woe be unto thee, Egypt and Syria. Gird up yourselves with cloths of sack and hair. Bewail your children and be sorry, for your destruction is at hand, man. Right? Because of what? It's Jacob turning the rule, man, under our king, man, our big brother Yahushua. Right? It's time for us to come up and them to go low, right? To be brought low. Right? It says, right, for following behind Babylon, man. Speaking of other nations, Asia, the BRICS nations, and NATO and the EU, all of them. Right? It says a sword is sent upon you, and who may turn it back? Right? World War III is going to happen, man. You can't stop it. You can't stop the prophecies, man. And once those ICBMs get shot off to come destroy America, nothing can stop it, man. The only time we have any information on nuclear missiles not shooting off when they were supposed to, right, was when they have video of the chariots. They call them UFOs, but these are angels, and the chariots was flying over the nuclear base. I forgot what base that was. I can't think of the name. But they was finna shoot off some nuclear missiles, and they spotted some unidentified objects in the air, right, which were really the chariots, the angels in their chariots, and it shut down the whole nuclear base. Man, they couldn't shoot off the nukes, right? It shut all it down. Again, showing you who's in control. Yahweh Bahashim Yahushai. Everything is set for an appointed time, right? But once that time is here, Once it's time, that sword can't be sent back. It can't be stopped. Verse 4, a fire is sent among you, and who may quench it? Plagues are sent unto you, and what is he that may drive them away? May any man drive away a hungry lion in the wood? Or may any one quench the fire in stubble when it hath begun to burn? May one turn again the arrow that is shot of a strong archer? The mighty Lord, see, sendeth the plagues, and who is he that can drive them away? Right? I mean, we have to understand, again, everything's set for an appointed time. And when that time comes, the prophecy will be fulfilled, right? As we were just reading, even though you think it's tarrying, it will not tarry. It's going to happen, right? What was that? Right, verse 9, fire shall go forth from his wrath, and who is he that may quench it? He shall cast lightnings, and who shall not fear? He shall thunder, and who shall not be afraid? The Lord shall threaten, and who shall not be utterly beaten to powder at his presence? The earth quaketh, and the foundation thereof. The sea ariseth up with waves from the deep, and the waves of it are troubled, and the fishes thereof also before the Lord, and before the glory of his power. For strong is his right hand that bendeth the bow. See? It's talking about our Lord, man, Yahweh Shai, man. You know, when he comes, man, those icy beams get shot off, can't nobody stop it, man. You know. His arrows that he shooteth are sharp and shall not miss when they begin to be shot into the ends of the world. Right, now let's go back. Let's go to Isaiah 63. You know, because it's Yahweh Shai, man. Right? This is going to be his victory, man. This is Isaiah 63:1. Who is that? I'm so busy saying woe. Destruction. All right, it says, who is this that cometh from Edom with dyed garments from Basra? Right? Basra is a city in Edom. Right? This that is glorious in his apparel, traveling in the greatness of his strength, man. Right? Lord willing, I exceed Yahweh shall show up in those chariots, man, and be delivered in that day, you know, be beamed up into those chariots. I that speak in righteousness, mighty to save, you know, wherefore art thou red in thy apparel, and thy garments like him that treadeth in the wine fat? I have trodden the winepress alone. See, it's Yahweh Shai, and of the people there was none with me, for I would tread them in my anger, because it's his vengeance, man. You know, we're waiting on Yahweh Shai to get his licks, man. You know, for I will tread them in my anger and trample them in my fury, and their blood shall be sprinkled upon my garment, and I will stain all my raiment. He's just making a point. Nothing's going to physically touch his garment. It's still going to be clean as ever, you know. But he's making a point that it's his judgment, man. Verse 4, for the day of vengeance is in my heart. See? And the year of my redeem is come, right? And I looked, and there was none to help, and I wondered that there was none to uphold. That was pretty much the point, though. All right, but let's go back to Psalms, man. All right, Psalms 58. Let's go down to 6 again. Break their teeth, O Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh in their mouth. Break out the great teeth of the young lions, O Yahweh. Let them melt away as waters which run continually when he bendeth his bow to shoot his arrows. Let them be as cut in pieces as a snail which melteth. Let every one of them pass away like the untimely birth of a woman. Right? This is our prayer for the wicked, man. You know, like the untimely birth of a woman, that they may not see the sun. Right? So again, two-thirds of our people in the heathen. You know, World War III, nuclear missile destruction, and when the Lord's going to strike them through, you know, it's his vengeance. You know, before your pots can fail, verse 9, before your pots can feel the thorns, he shall take them away as with the whirlwind, both living. See that whirlwind, right? Ooh. Let's read it in the NIV. It says, before your pots can feel the heart of the thorns, Whether they be green or dry, the wicked will be swept away. Right? In that whirlwind. Right? Back at verse 9 in the KJV, before your pots can feel the thorns, he shall take them away as with a whirlwind, both living and in his wrath. The righteous shall rejoice. The righteous shall rejoice when he seeth the vengeance. Right? Whose vengeance? We just read it. Yahweh Shai's vengeance. Is his vengeance, his anger. He shall wash his feet in the blood of the wicked. We just read that. Right? Of him treading the winepress. So that a man shall say, verily, there is a reward for the righteous. Verily, he is a power that judgeth in the earth, man. All right, let's get that. Let's get that real quick. Whirlwind. All right, let's go to where is it at? Oops, it's like. All right, let me grab one more precept real quick. Ooh. All right, I was looking at something real quick. All right, let me get to the precept I was looking for. So let me grab something real quick. Bear with me. I knew that. That's right. I'm tripping. Jeremiah 51. Man. Right. Let's start off at 1. It says, thus saith the Lord, right? Thus saith Yahweh. This is the Most High. Behold, I will rise up against Babylon and against them that dwell in the midst of them that rise up against me, right? A destroying wind. That's those whirlwinds, man. That destroying wind. It says, and will send unto Babylon fanners, and that shall fan her, right? These are enemies that are going to spoil her, man, and destroy this place, man, with nuclear missiles, right? And shall empty her land, for in the day of trouble they shall be against her round about. Against him that bendeth, let the archer bend his bow, and against him that lifteth up himself, and against him that lifteth himself up in his brigadine, right, in his protection. Right, they think they're going to get that Iron Dome up, but it ain't going to do nothing, man. It says, and spare ye not her young men, destroy ye utterly all her hosts. Right, thus the slain shall fall in the land of the Chaldeans again, Babylon. You can see that in NIV verse 4, right? Jeremiah 51 verse 4. And in NIV it says they will fall down slain in Babylon. Right, so back to KJV. Thus the slain shall fall in the land of the Chaldeans, and they that are thrust through in her streets. For Israel have not been forsaken. So remember I was saying why is all this really happening? Because the Lord hasn't forsaken his people, man. And he's going to take vengeance out for the things that they have done to Yahweh and to his children, man. For Israel have not been forsaken, nor Judah of his power of the Lord, right? Yahweh, right? The God of armies. Though their land was filled with sin against the Holy One of Israel. Right? So again, man, just wanted to go into some precepts to show you that the wicked, man, has a reward. Man, you know, all of them going to take up a parable against this place and come against this place, man. Right? Because it's set for an appointed time. You know, Habakkuk 2 and 3, for the vision is yet for an appointed time. These prophecies must come to pass, man. You know, the downfall of the wicked. Right? That soul that's not upright, you know, in these wicked individuals, man. You know, will be moved out of the way. You know, so Lord willing, this lesson was edifying. You know, again, Trump has planned to take has plans to have a friendly takeover of Cuba, right, and continually enlarging his desires as hell, right, steady stacking sin on sin, which is going to further push him down that path of Yahweh Bashim Yahweh's wrath, you know, turning this place into, ooh, excuse me, so I can turn this place into a lake of fire. You know, thus saith Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai. So again, Lord willing, this lesson was edifying. Shalom and DTA.